Namaste. My name is Purnima, and I want to share with you all something which I feel very deeply about, and it's about life. What else is there to share about or talk about, right? Everything is about life and what happens to in our life and what are our learnings from life. So today, I want to share with you what I call an episode in my life, which I have titled "Anklets on an Ant's Feet." So anklets on an ant's feet, and this was a talk I gave on a forum called the Meditation and Study Circle on 21st of December. So life has a way of tying us up in knots, isn't it? When things are cruising along, life is cruising along, we take it for granted. But a little something that rocks the boat of life, and it really disturbs us extremely. And it's easy to lose our perspective and go completely berserk and fret and fume about it and blame circumstances, blame ourselves, feel bad, feel guilty, and finally blame God. That's what I did a few months ago. What I felt terrible and unpardonable happened in my life, and I was really, really feeling bad about it. And I couldn't forget the event so easily. I couldn't put it out of my head. And inside myself, I was crying, 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 trying to find out what happened. What did I do wrong? Should I have done something properly, something better, and everything. And finally, it was God whom I blamed. I said, God, you have failed me, you have let me down. And I was really ranting, ranting, ranting about God. It's easy to rant about God because He never answers back. No, people, you can't talk to people like that, but God is fine. I mean, He's always there in a photograph or in an idol, and never really bothers you. Whatever you tell Him, He accepts. But surprise, one day when I was really thinking about all this, and I'm sure I was making a lot of noise because my head was full buzzing, and I was so sad, and too much noise was happening. I'm sure it was a ruckus, in fact, and I'm sure God was disturbed. He said, I woke him up, I think, out of sleep, and he suddenly came to life and said, "Hello, what's happening? You're calling me?" So if I was a Vivekananda, I would have been dumbstruck when God got up and spoke to me like that. But I'm not a Vivekananda, and I was too full of myself and my own sorrow to really understand what was happening, right? So I said, "Yes, I called you. Finally, you are here. Uh, Sit down here. I want to tell you a lot of things about yourself. I've got a lot of complaints against you." God said, "Okay, what complaints? Please share them with me." I said, "Okay, here is God. Here is my chance, and I'm going to tell him my views about what I think about this." So my first accusation at God was, "You do not answer my prayers." Simple as that. You don't answer my prayers. What is worse? You hear the prayers of Rakshasas, the demons, who are always going about destroying the world, creating unrest, and all these Rakshasas, even in the recent, in contemporary time, Rakshasas, like, horrible, corrupt politicians or something, you always go on blessing them. And I'm here, an innocent person, law-abiding citizen. I don't break law rules. I pay my taxes. I don't cross red lights and all that. And you don't hear the prayers of simple folk like me. I don't like it. I told God, I don't like it. And because you're giving boons all to these Rakshasas, you're called Bholenath. That's why, Bholenath, you don't know what you're doing. You're too simple. You can't understand who is good and who is bad. And I know these Rakshasas perform a lot of austerities, they stand on one leg, and for years together they go away and shut themselves up and pray. And that's why you are impressed with them. I can't do such things. I'm a family person. I've got a I have to take care of, I have to earn a living and all that. I can't do such things. But I am devoted in my limited manner. I am devoted to you. I do whatever I can, to remember you and offer you whatever prayer I know how to offer. Is that not enough for you, God, that you have, punished me for, for little things? And I told God, don't throw these things at me. What kind of these things? What sentences? What platitudes? I said, don't tell me, because I'm tired of hearing these things. Don't tell me about the attitude of gratitude. It's terrible. I get really angry when somebody tells me, hey, hey, count your blessings, okay? You got so many things. Um, and I always say Krishnarpanamastu. For everything I receive, I say Krishnarpanamastu. This is not fair to tell a grieving person to have an attitude of gratitude, or even the second worst thing you can do is throw the karma theory at me. Really, it really irritates me too much. And what is this karmanyavadikaraste? How can I not expect results for my, for whatever actions I have done? Ma phaleshu kadachana. How does it even work? I don't. mm, there's a motivation for me to do anything good at all. This is somehow really angry about all this. So yes, I'm truly tired of hearing about this karma theory. And another thing that I people keep telling me is that everything happens for the best. Well, it's very difficult to wrap my mind around it when I'm feeling really rotten about it. Okay, I'm sorry. So apart from these things, you tell me why you don't answer my prayers. That is what I challenged God. So God said, God's defense. He was ready to his defense. He said, okay, my first charge was you don't answer my prayers, for which God said, have you any idea, my dear, how many petitions I receive every moment? Huh? There are 7 billion of you, and each of you have got 50,000 thoughts per day, and not to mention your dreams, which are also thoughts. And it's my job to manifest each and every thought that you have. That is the kind of momentous job. Have you even an iota of idea how much that is? Do the math in your head. How much work I've got, huh? And it's easier to manifest the dreams of these other creatures, poor creatures. They don't have too much of a choice, and they don't have a confusion in their head. They just take whatever I give them. But for you people, for humans, it's really difficult, right? Um, for example, the mother wants to give the baby, give the son fruit, and the son wants pizza. For example, a very trivial example I'm giving you. So, whose prayer should I answer now? The mother's or the child? Both of them are good people only. No, what am I supposed to do? And both of them are going to be angry at me if I don't, uh, you know, uh, give their prayers, tathastu their prayers. So I said, what is this God? What nonsense God is talking? He is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. Naturally, the baby has to get the fruit and not the pizza, irrespective of what the baby thinks. Come on, he's kidding, okay? I was thinking. And sure enough, God said, yes, that was a fun answer. The correct answer, or my defense is this. Actually, it was not a defense, it was an attack, because hearing all of God's charges at me, I was mortified at the end of it. But to start with, God asked me, do you yourself know, my dear, what you want? Do you yourself know what you want? Because the moment you wake up in the morning, um, you'll have a plan in your head. The moment you reach the bathroom, your plan would have changed. The time you come to the bathroom and come to the wardrobe, after having a bath, you'd have changed your mind 10 times about what to wear, and you open your cupboard and spend some 2 minutes in front of it trying to find out what to wear. Again, a very trivial example, how many times you change your mind about what you want to eat when you go to a restaurant? Hmm? Have you any idea how confusing that is for me? You are changing your mind at the drop of a hat, and you expect me to know what you want? God said. And another thing God told me was, do you always say what you mean, and do you always mean what you say? Ask yourself that, God told. Now, again, this was very confusing to me. I didn't know what God meant by this. So God told me the story of Lord Rama. So Lord Rama, when he was in Lanka rescuing Sita Mata, and his Vanara Sena was ready, and they were all brandishing their weapons and ready for war on Ravana, when one day Rama had a very pensive moment. He called Sugriva and told Sugriva, look, I'm so sorry that I have to attack Ravana in this war. Ravana is actually a very accomplished human being. He's a great king actually, and he's a great administrator. And apart from the fact that only for the fact that he has kidnapped the Sita Mata, all this big natak is happening. Even now, if Ravana comes and surrenders to me, I'll be very happy to take my wife and go away to my country and leave him alone. I don't want to kill Ravana. Hearing this, Sugriva was aghast. Why? Because Sugriva reminded Lord Rama, look, my dear Lord, Vibhishana has come and surrendered to you. Do you remember? And you have promised Vibhishana that you will crown him the king of Lanka the moment Ravana is defeated. Now, if Ravana himself comes and surrenders to you, what will happen to Vibhishana and what will happen to your promise to Vibhishana? You will have to break your promise to Vibhishana. So Rama said, don't worry. If Vibhishana, yes, I will keep my promise to Vibhishana. Naturally, I'll crown him the king of Lanka. And Ravana comes, I will crown him the Lanka of Ayodhya itself. What's the problem? Such was the guileless intention of Lord Rama. That is why he's called as Maryada Purushottama Rama. That is why his motto of Pran Jaye par Vachan na Jaye is so well known. And this quality in a person is called as integrity, isn't it? So God asked me, do you have this integrity, my dear? Do you always say what you mean? And do you always mean what you say? God told me, think about it. And I believe you me. I really cannot say I say what I mean all the time or I mean what I say. I talk casually. I take things for granted. I joke about things without even knowing the implications of it or without knowing how it is being taken by other people. So, yes, I have to admit that uh, I don't really live up to the standards that God expects of people. And then my next attack was that he hears the prayers of Rakshasas, for which God was ready with another story for me. Okay. He said, once Krishna went to the house of a rich man, and the rich man, being rich, he did the Shodashopachara for Krishna with all the pomp and splendor, with all the wealth at his command, all the resources at his command. It was really a splendorous welcome that Krishna got and the puja got Krishna got. And Krishna was really, really pleased with this rich man. And he blessed the rich man with more riches. And then he also went to the house of a poor man. The poor man had nothing except a little cow with him, which was already sick and old and dying, and it was in bad need of a doctor. And the poor man had not even enough resources to take the cow to a doctor. So Krishna went, but the poor man treated Krishna with whatever little resources he had. Really sincerely, he prayed to Krishna and he, sent Krishna back. And the moment Krishna left, one would have thought that Krishna would have blessed this poor fellow with some health and happiness and prosperity, Ayur, Arogya, Aishwarya, everything the poor man will get. But to the surprise of Narada, who was watching all this, the cow fell dead the moment Krishna left the place. Narada was aghast. He said, my lord, what is this? All that the poor man had was a little cow, and you had to take that also away from him. And this rich man, you blessed him with more riches. This is so unfair. What's wrong with you? Your logic is beyond my, comprehension. So for which Krishna said, hold on. Look at this man now. See how happy and prosperous he is looking. All that was bogging him down was that cow, which was unhealthy, unhappy, uncared for, and unproductive also. It was a drain on this poor fellow's riches. What do you think I was doing? Okay. So that rich man is fine. He will take his riches, he will enjoy his riches and go. But this poor man, I have lifted him out of his miserable condition. So God said, sometimes my blessings look like curses and my curses look like blessings, especially with the Rakshasas. My blessings are sometimes curses in disguise, isn't it? God told me, you have heard so many Puranas and stories of the Bhasmasuras and the Ravanas and the Tarakasuras who have always had all these beautiful, taken these beautiful blessings from Lord Brahma and Shiva and all these people, which look like impossible blessings, immortality and all that. But you know how they end up. They end up dead at the end of it, right? So my blessings are not really blessings; they are curses, and my curses are always blessings in disguise. Always, you have to get this, wrap your mind around this. My curses are always blessings in disguise. Because there's something better that's in store for you. You might not understand it now, but that's the truth. Next, my charge against God was that he's called Bholenath because he believes all these Rakshasas and that I cannot perform as many austerities as them. And God said, look, you know very well, again, it's a very unfair accusation. I don't need tough austerities from you, and I'm quite easily pleased. You know that very well, God said. You know that I'm quite easily pleased because you have recited this mantra several times from the Gita that I'm pleased with the phalam, pushpam, patram, toyam. That's it. That's all I need from you. That's all I need from you. But how you offer them to me is the tipping point. How do you offer them to me? Do you have what it takes to please me with these offerings of yours? Asked God. So for this, he gave me the example of these three shepherds, innocent shepherds who were so devoted to God that they didn't even know how to pray properly. But their prayer was only for their sheep, and sincerely they tended to their sheep. Day and night they looked after their sheep. They took them out to graze and they brought them back home, herded them together, brought them back home. And these shepherds were considered to be very holy by the villagers. These shepherds were considered very holy by the villagers, and they used to go to the shepherds and take their blessings and come. And one pastor, the priest, was one day he heard about these shepherds, and he was very curious to see what miracles these shepherds could perform, And so he went to their place, to their village. He had to cross a river to go to their village. He went to their village and asked them, what sort of prayers do you teach people? They said, we don't know any prayers, Baba. We know how to look after our sheep. Very devotedly, we look after the sheep. And the same thing, with the same thing, we bless the villagers also. That's all. We don't know any prayer. So the pastor took pity on them. Okay, and he said, okay, I'm going to teach you some fine verses from the Bible. You should learn them and you should pass it on to the villagers. It'll be very good, you'll all become quite prosperous if you say all this. And the pastor taught them those verses and made them by heart it, repeat it again and again so that it stays in their head. And he left. He left by his boat. And after a while, he heard a splashing behind them. What was the splashing? One of the shepherds was running behind him. And he was running on water and coming behind the pastor. And the pastor was shocked to see this shepherd running on water. He said, what's happening? So the shepherd came and told him, sir, I forgot what you had taught me. The second line, I simply cannot recall the second line of what you have taught me. Will you please, help me again? So the pastor said, my dear, you already have everything that you need to, you already have all the power in you to lead your life and bless your villages. You don't need any interference or any improvement from me. Please go ahead and live your life, said the pastor. So the point is, God said, do you have this kind of unconditional faith and sincerity and devotion to offer me your flowers and fruits and patram and water? You answer that yourself, God told me. Then yes, I agree. I have to stop and look at myself. And next was about the attitude of gratitude, for which again God had another story to ask me. He said, you are so easily dismissing this attitude of gratitude issue. You think you have gratitude towards me for all the things I have given you. But I want you to reflect a little more on this, said God. So what did he say? There was a king who used to tour his garden every evening, go for a stroll on his beautiful garden, acres and acres of garden. And one day he saw the gardener. He saw his gardener happily humming to himself and cutting away at the bushes in front of his one of the uh, corners. So the king said, "This gardener of mine, he looks so happy. I've never had this. I have never experienced this kind of happiness with all my riches at my command. I have never experienced this kind of happiness. What makes this gardener fellow so happy? I'm sure he doesn't have even 5.5% of the wealth and the splendor and the power and everything I have. Yet this fellow is so happy. I want to get to the bottom of this. What's happening here?" So he asked his minister to go and find out from the fellow what is it that makes him so happy. Okay. So the minister went and came back to the king and said, "Nothing, my dear sir. He is an ordinary fellow. He loves his job. He loves coming to the royal palace, to the garden every day and attending to your plants and going back. He doesn't require anything else. He's quite happy." So the king said, "Okay, I am pleased with the fellow. You give him this, he gave the gardener a sack of gold coins." He said, I'm very happy. It's so nice. He's so innocent. He's enjoying himself so much. Let him have some money, okay?" So he gave him, he sent a sack of gold coins to the gardener. So the minister went and gave the gardener this bag of gold coins. And he said, "Here, the king has given you 100 gold coins. Go, happy, enjoy yourself." Then the gardener was so pleased, naturally, gold coins from the king. So he went home fast and he started counting all his money. And he saw that there was only 99 coins, no, not 100, like God had promised, the king had promised. So where was that one missing gold coin? Then he rushed back to the palace garden and he searched every nook and corner for that single missing gold coin. He searched and searched and searched several times, but he couldn't find that one gold coin. So what happened? He was totally dejected, meaning he forgot the 99 gold coins that he had in his hand, but was just worrying about that one missing gold coin. And this is called Club 99. So God told me, ask yourself, my dear, do you belong to Club 99? Do you belong to Club 99? Do you always fret about the things that you don't have and forget about all the other blessings that you have? When you're in a better frame of mind, please think about it, said God. And then, okay, I believe you said that you say Krishna Arpanamastu all the time. And you know what God said? He said, really? Huh. And he just, it was, God's laughter was kind of very mortifying for me, because God said, you know what you say every day, throughout the day, your most favorite word you use every day is, you know what, at every moment, I. You know how many times you say I every time, every day, every moment? How many I's you say, uh, you know, obviously the most valuable person in your life is yourself. I is your favorite person. So among all the I's you say, how many of them is Krishna Arpanamastu, my dear? How many I's will you substitute for Krishna there? Again, I have to admit, I was totally mortified, right? So God said, look, it's not, I'm not mocking you, but it's not very easy. The attitude of surrender is not so easy to come by. Humility is not that easy as just saying Krishna Arpanamastu, because it was not possible for even big people. Huh? What about you? So he told me the story of Barbarika. You know who Barbarika was? Barbarika was the grandson of Ghatotkacha and the son of Bhima. And this Barbarika, like all other, so many kings, he wanted to come and join the Kurukshetra war. Okay. So he was coming and on the way, and this Barbarika was extremely powerful. And for some reason, he wanted to fight on the side of the Kauravas. So Lord Krishna came to know about it, and quickly he devised a plan, and he convinced Barbarika that he should not fight the war on the side of Kauravas of all things. And he requested Barbarika to give up his life to save the Pandavas from destruction. So Barbarika agreed because he revered Lord Krishna and he knew that if Krishna is asking him for something, he should just give it. So not like me, who was crying for every little thing that was expected of me. So Barbarika happily laid down his life, but he said, "I have a wish which I wish you would fulfill, my lord. It is my last wish." He said, "Of course, whatever you want." So Barbarika said, "I need to witness the war of Kurukshetra. This is my wish, which is why I came here in the first place. So even if I'm not there, I want to be able to watch Kurukshetra." So Krishna said, "Of course," and he made arrangements for Barbarika's head to be put up on a tall pole so that he can witness the Kurukshetra war. So apart from Sanjaya, there was this Barbarika who was also watching this war. Okay. Then what happened after the war was won and the Pandavas were triumphant? This Krishna and Arjuna and Bhima, the brothers, the great warriors, they came and looked at the battlefield and all the dead soldiers and everything, and they were feeling very proud about themselves. They said, "Okay, we have won the war," and with great pride they looked. And Arjuna said, "See how my arrows have decimated each and every soldier on this battlefield." And Bhima was no less. He said, "Look at my mace, my gadha, how it has gone on thrashing everybody. How many heads I have crushed with my gadha, he said. Then listening to this, Barbarika, who was watching, laughed. He laughed and said, "My dear tatas, my dear grandparents, Arjuna and my dear Pandavas, listen. I neither saw Arjuna's arrows nor Bhima's mace doing any work on this battlefield. All I could see was Krishna's Sudarshana Chakra going round and round and doing all the work. You guys have done nothing." So this is how, if Arjuna and Bhima can forget their friend, philosopher, guide who was with them all the time, holding their hands and guiding them and uh, doing everything for them at every moment of time, they forgot. And Arjuna, he was the recipient of the greatest teaching of all time from God Himself. And he forgot about Krishna at the moment of victory. And you think you, my simple woman, can you hope to remember me at all times? Said God. Yes, something to think about. And God was not done because I was not done, right? I had thrown all these accusations at God, so He had to come to this also. Then He said, "Karma, my dear, is not a theory. It's the very engine on which this universe runs. It is the very software on which the universe runs. It is not a theory. Please do not dismiss it as a theory. It is stupid." And what is karma? Karma is nothing but work. Karma means to work. And your work, all your actions, tell me how much of it is conscious and how much of it is unconscious. God said, "Tell me how many things you do in a day." By this time, I know I was well aware that I had failed miserably in all the questions that God had asked me. And I have to admit, yes, I told God, yes, I do several things in a day, starting from brushing my teeth to going to bed at night. I do hundreds and hundreds of things, God. I said, "How many things of those do you do consciously?" God asked. "How many of them do I do consciously?" "Do you brush your teeth consciously?" "No." "Do you make your tea consciously?" "No." "Do you wear your clothes consciously?" "No, God." Everything, every little thing that I do, I'm on autopilot. I do everything mechanically. I had to admit it. God had a point. So God said, "Unconscious actions produce unpleasant results." I'm sorry. Unconscious actions produce unconscious results. So you cannot, and they all get accumulated. It is not that, uh, you know, um, You can always bank on your past good merit to get. You've already encashed your good merit. That is why you're in such a good position in life right now. But then it has to be replenished all the time. And unconscious actions, I'm sorry. I mean, that is how the karma, the software of karma works, said God. And then another thing I had told God was that everything happens for the best. I simply cannot accept this at this moment because I'm feeling quite bad about it. So he said, you know why you can't accept it? Because you're a control freak. You can't, you have a very fixed idea of how things should happen. You do something and say you expect a certain result, but it's not going to happen because you're not in control for all these several reasons that I've given you. You don't realize that you are not in control, but you can't let go of that attitude of having to control everything that's happening in your life. You are a control freak. That's why you're not able to appreciate this sentiment. And by the way, my dear, said God, this was quite shocking to me. God said, it is not my job to fulfill all your fancies. I'm not here to fulfill all your fancies. You have got all these fantastic ideas in your head, but I'm sorry, there's a system in place and things will happen in the way that they should. And my job is not to fulfill your fancies because you are the pinnacle of my creation. As a human being, I expect you to evolve and transcend all your desires and your worldly things and come to me fast, you know, learn from your experiences. That is why I give you bad experiences so that you learn and understand that all this is not going to last and things are very fluid and nothing is there as a fixed thing for you to always bank upon, right? So, and only if you understand the spirit of the statement will you appreciate that everything happens for the best. And you know who, because you know the song that one of your dasas have sung, no? ಆದದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಉಳಿತೆ ಆಯಿತು ನಮ್ಮ ಶ್ರೀಧರನ ಸೇವೆಗೆ ಸಾಧನ ಸಂಪತ್ತಾಯಿತು. You have forgotten the second part of the song. It says it's all for the best so that you can serve me better. ನನ್ನ ಸೇವೆ ಮಾಡು ನೀನು ಅಂತ I give you all these troubles. And nobody understood this better than this woman called Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas. You know, despite all the troubles she had gone through, what she did, she said, my dear Lord Krishna, I do not ask for a better life. Please give me more troubles. Even if I'm born again, I want more troubles so that I always remember you. I always remember you. So that was what God told me next. Then now I was getting really worried about what all I had told God, but I had to go through with it. So I had told him, under your watch, too many atrocities are committed in the world. So God said, please grow up. This is as good as it gets. Haven't you seen from the days of the Mahabharata, from the days of the Ramayana, lakhs and lakhs of years ago also, there was good and there was evil in the world. There are good people, there are bad people. Good things happen, bad things happen. It's always 50-50. This is as good as it gets. Grow up, said God. Hmm? Then, then when I'd asked him what happened to your yada yada hi dharmasya, I had asked him. So he said, yes, it depends on you. If you want me to come and manifest again, it depends entirely upon you. Then this threw me off. I was aghast. I said, how can I? Already I was feeling quite insignificant and stupid, and because of God, how what He had to tell me, and now God is saying, no, I depend on you to come back. I said, how is that possible? Then he said, then I asked him, how does it depend on me and what should I do? So God said, pray. Now, here we come a full circle. All the time I thought I was praying and had demolished all my ideas of how to pray and what I had to offer to Him. Now, again, we have come back to the point when God is saying, pray. So, what should I do? Teach me how to pray. Now, I'm completely confused. My head is empty. I don't know what to do. I'm totally, devoid of all other ideas. God, you have shown me that I'm not doing, the things the right way that I'm supposed to do. So teach me how to pray. I was really, really humble, and I was really, really curious to know how to pray. And I was very happy that God Himself had come to me and told me that He would teach me to pray. So I sat up straight and I closed my eyes and I put my hands in namaskaram and said, "Okay, now teach me how to pray." So God said, "You need not pray to me the way you have been doing all this while. You don't have to sit up straight in a puja room and light the lamps and fold your feet. No, that's not what I want. You've been doing it. You carry on with that ritual if you wish, but it's a different kind of prayer I'm talking about." Then again I was asked, "Okay, what is this different kind of prayer?" Then God said, "You know why you don't have to pray to me? Because I'm not deaf. I can hear the anklets on an ant's feet." Okay, even with all the 7 billion of people of you making so much noise and all the cross connections and all blocking the airwaves, but still my energies are so subtle that I can hear the anklets on an ant's feet. You really don't have to spell out what you want, my dear. I already know what you want. You really don't have to pray to me like that. And he said, a prayer, by the way, is not an act. Prayer is not an act, not an event that happens in 5 minutes a day. It's not the Sahasranamas you recite for half an hour every day or whatever, or something you listen. Prayer is not an act. So, what is prayer? Prayer is a movement from unconscious living to conscious living. That is what prayer is. According to God's definition, prayer is a whole paradigm shift in the way I have been living my life, from unconscious living on auto mode to conscious living. That's what God said. And so here I am, ready to receive the bodhana, the advice of God of how to have this paradigm shift in my life from unconscious to conscious. So this was the concluding part of God's whole interaction with me. So the first thing God told me was, put away your self-importance. This I, me, myself syndrome has gone on long enough. It's high time you put it away. If you want to be of any help to me as God, you have to do this first. Put away your sense of self-importance and don't throw your ideas at me. I know exactly what I'm doing. In fact, you yourself are my idea, right? If I was not there, you wouldn't be here. If I hadn't got your idea in my head, you wouldn't be here. So why are you throwing your ideas at me? Please don't do it. Spare me. Spare me, okay? Don't give me any lectures of what you want. And with prayers, I cannot guarantee that I will solve all your problems. I cannot guarantee that I will solve all your problems. If that is the reason why you want to pray to me, please don't pray at all. You have got a completely wrong idea of what prayer is. So, what is prayer? If you pray to me, I can show you a way to rise above your problems. That's what I can do, said God. I will not solve your problems of what you think are your earthly problems, but I can show you a way to rise above them. And the way to do that is to align with my will, said God. The only way to rise above your problems is to align with my will and not run behind your will. And how can I align with God's will? When I was thinking that, God threw another googly at me. He said, pretend to be me. Okay? Fake it till you make it. If you cannot be God, pretend you are God. Okay? You praise me that I am omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and you, in your heart, you want to be omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. Yes or no? You want things the way to happen the way you want it. Yes or no? In other word, you want to be God, yes or no? Yes, you want to be God. So pretend to be me. Let's see how it goes. See, if somebody says you're a donkey, you take it very seriously. So if somebody says you are God, why can't you? I'm telling you, you are God yourself. You take it seriously, no? You're very easily you identify with something lower than what you are. So now humor me, pretend to be me, and let's see how the prayer goes. Okay. So this was a very exciting idea to me, and I said, okay, let's go for it. Let's see how it goes. So what does it take to be God? That was also I needed to know the rules of the game, right? It's okay to pretend to be God, but I should know how it feels like. What is the role like? So God gave me a few ground rules of how it takes to be God. He said, the first thing I need from you to be me is viveka or discernment. Discernment about what is what is the right thing to do and what is the not the right thing to do. What is the right time to do something and what's not the right time to do something. That is called Viveka, and that is how I have been running my whole show with a great lot of discernment or Viveka. Hmm? And as God, I never label and I never judge. I never label and I never judge. So if you want to be God, if you want to help me in prayer, or if you want to please me by prayer, if you want to pretend to be me, you should not label and you should not judge people based on their activities, their looks, their caste, their behavior, anything. Don't judge people. And no reward, no punishment. So people have this weird idea that God rewards and God punishes. No, that's not happening. There is no reward and there is no punishment. And no unsolicited advice or interference. Unless people call me with great sincerity, either with anger or with like you did, or with love, like all the devotees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. I don't come and I don't give them advice, or nor do they interfere in their lives, because the karma phenomenon is in place and everything will go on without my interference. So unless somebody is interested or calls me very sincerely, no unsolicited advice or interference. So live and let live is my policy, said God. And the last and most important thing to be God is the ability to just watch and be silent. People accuse God, no, of you're a stone, you don't react, you just see everything happening in front of you. Yes, that's what I do, because things have to play out the way they play out. And so I just watch and I'm silent. And I know when to interfere, when not to interfere. So if you're ready to do all this, you can come and you can be my co-creator in the world. You said no, yada yada hi dharmasya. You want me to come back on earth? Come on, tender my hands and do the things that I want you to do as a good child of mine. So next we came to the subject at hand, which is prayer. God said there are several levels at which you can pray. And the most familiar level for you is the physical level, the world around you, right? So he said the physical level is the easiest for you to help me in my mission, which is just very, very simple. I don't even have to explain to you. It is from self love to universal love, which sounds very bombastic, but don't get scared. You don't have to go love your neighbor even if you hate him or her. Don't do that. All I want you to do is please do all these little things that matter to me. Please take care of my planet Earth. Mother Earth is very important. She's precious and it's in your hands to take care of her. Just do these simple things. Please segregate waste, okay, please, and conserve water. Take care of the elderly in your house and feed the needy and take care of the cows and plant trees. Simple, simple, simple things, my dear. If you do this at the physical level, it's enough. That's the prayer you can offer to me at this physical level. There's nothing more I want you to do. So revere everything and everyone. Your culture has taught you to do that. You worship monkeys and cows and rivers and mountains. You are taught to see God in everything. Just remember it again and again. Don't forget it and revere everything and everyone. That is the prayer you can offer to me at the physical level. That's all I ask. And next we come to the next level of prayer, which is at the mental level, which is a little more complicated. I am sure all of you are doing what you can at the physical level. I don't even have any complaints about you regarding the physical level. In the mental level, take a little more care, my dear, he said. What is the little more care? Please move from mechanical action to deliberate action. So far, you have been doing everything very mechanically. I want you to be very conscious and think before you act. So again, God had to tell me how to do that. That is, He said, make your work worship. Whatever the work you do, whether you are in office or at home or a housewife or a child or a whatever work you are doing, make each of your work worship, because everything is karma. Karma means work, action, and every action, make it an act of worship. How? Again, God told me this about the great warrior called Ravana. This Ravana, all we know about Ravana is that he was a evil person who kidnapped Sita Mata and wreaked havoc in Rama's life. But Ravana was a great administrator, and he was an extremely accomplished scholar, and he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Hmm? That is why he was able to command so many powers, and he had so many siddhis. And one of the siddhis Ravana had was he was a great astrologer. He was an extremely great astrologer. To what extent that even Lord Rama believed in Ravana. So when the war was imminent, and they had to set an auspicious date to start the war, Rama approached Ravana to give him a good date to start the war. Can you beat that? So Rama called Lakshmana and said, go to Ravana and set the date. So Lakshmana was aghast. He said, oh my God, you're asking me to go to our rival. Definitely he's going to give you a bad day so that he wins. Why will he give you a good day to win? Rama said, don't worry, Lakshmana, just go and approach Ravana. And Ravana, because he was true to his profession, he was devoted to his profession, and his astrology, what he, as an astrologer, he gave Rama a good date, an auspicious date, so that Rama could win the war. That is what a good astrologer does. And Ravana, when he was an astrologer, he forgot, he put aside the fact that he was inviting his own, end by giving a good date to Rama. So that is the kind of integrity that Ravana showed in his work as an astrologer. So God said, if possible, at the level of the mental level of your profession, your everything, show integrity to your work. No matter what happens, show integrity and make work your worship, because every little act you do is a act of worship. Make it an act of worship towards me by following such principles. And then next, at the level of the emotion, it gets a little more complicated, more and more complicated, because the heart, oh my God, the heart, it's a very, very difficult thing, no? So easy to get confused, so easy to get depressed, so easy to get elated. What do you say about the heart? It is so difficult, right? So God said, at this prayer, you have to move from I to we. Is it the same principle, from self love to universal love, from I to we at the level of the heart, and snap out of your self pity. You're always doing that, God told you. Snap out of self pity and bless everyone. Yes, God said, bless everyone. Why do you have to curse anybody at all? It's fine at a transactional level. You might have some differences with people, but at the level of the heart, when you go to bed, bless everyone and go. Yes, even your worst enemy, the worst boss ever in your life, or whatever it is, you have to bless everyone. Hmm? Why? Because again, God reminded me of these beautiful stories which we all know, doesn't even need explanation. We all know these guys, no? Varaha and Narasimha, all these avatars, Rama avatar, Kumbhakarna, Ravana, and Shishupala, Dantavakra. In all these avatars of God, God um, apparently killed all these evil people, apparently, because we know very well that all these people were actually angels, no? They were actually devatas. They were Jaya and Vijaya who came down on earth for some circumstances. They had to take birth as these Rakshasas and do evil acts, and finally God had to take them back, right? So when God killed them, did he really kill them? No, he was just pretending to be angry. And these guys were just pretending to be evil, isn't it? So all of us have a story to tell. All of us come with a background. All of us behave the way we do because of some unknown story behind us. Like how Ravana, Kumbhakarna themselves didn't know why they were acting like this, or these all these other people. So what we need to remember that everyone is an angel in disguise. Everyone is an angel in disguise. So let us bless everyone. At the end of the day, you do whatever you want at the transactional level. Pretend to be angry, but don't let it corrupt your heart, is what God said. And then we come to the level of the intellect. Here, God said something can be done at the level of the intellect because the intellect is given to you because you can cut through the clutter of the mind and the heart and do something solid here. So, what do you do at the level of the intellect? You realize that all this suffering is something which is just happening, and you learn to watch the suffering instead of suffering. So, this is a very deep concept which God said through the story of King Janaka. King Janaka was the disciple of sage Ashtavakra. Okay. And one day, King Janaka was sleeping. He was a very prosperous king and a very powerful king. And one day, a soldier came rushing to him and said, God, your country is under attack. The neighboring Raja has come and he has attacked us. So King Janaka immediately, mm, so King Janaka, he said, um, okay, then he gathered all his forces and he ran, and they went to the war field. And a terrible war ensued, and lot of deaths happened. And unfortunately, King Janaka was decimated in this whole thing, and he was imprisoned. And then later he was he was taken away from his city, and he was left somewhere to die. And the King Janaka, the Emperor Janaka, became a beggar, and he fell sick. He had nothing to eat. He started begging on the street, and he was in so much trouble. And he sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, and he cried piteously. He cried, and he couldn't bear himself. And suddenly he woke up because he was dreaming. All this was a dream. And then, but the dream was so real. Everything that was happening, all the bad things that happened to him were all in his head. They were all images that were thrown from his own consciousness, right? That's what we all do when we go to bed every night, right? When we are dreaming, we don't realize that we are dreaming. And when we wake up, who knows, maybe we are dreaming this too. Everything that we see, whether you are sleeping or awake, is a projection of our own ideas, of our own consciousness. So when King Janaka told Ashtavakra about this dream, and the King Janaka was completely confused. Ashtavakra said, yes, you are sitting in front of me. This is also a dream. The fact that you were defeated in the war, that was also a dream. So King Janaka was confused. He said, is this true or is that true? क्या ये सच या वो सच? So King Janaka's whole life was spending, whole life was spent in answering this question: Is this true or that's true? Is this a dream or is that a dream? What is the dream and what is reality? His whole life was dedicated to the search of reality, which should be done under the guidance of a Sadguru. Okay, this is called this calls for a complete shift in perception of our perception, and it can be accomplished with the correct guidance and with the correct attitude. This is from the person who suffers, you become the one who watches the suffering, because even in the worst moment of your life, You're able to see that see something. Actually, in the worst moments of your life, you actually turn into a witness, and you see it. Everything acquires a dreamlike quality, and you're able to watch it. That is how we survive. Also, that is how we survive the worst events in life, because we feel a kind of distance. There's a distance created between what is happening to us, to what I think is me, what is happening, and like how the moment you wake up from a dream, you laugh it off. By this process of shift in perception, you will be able to laugh or forget or accept easily whatever is happening in life. This is at the prayer, at the mind, at the level of the intellect, which is what the purpose of human life is all about, said God. And to top it all, at the end of it, the last and the most beautiful prayer, said God, is the prayer at the level of energy. There is no mind, there is no body, there is no emotion, there is no intellect. All you have is to tap into the energy within yourself, said God. This is the best prayer and the easiest prayer that you can do. And this is the best prayer where you don't have to pray at all. You don't have to pray for anything, because at this level, nothing has to be done. At the level of energy, nothing has to be done. And at this level, you don't have to pray, because you can hear the anklets on the ants' feet. Your energies are so subtle at this level, that your mind is so subtle and your mind is so silent that even you can hear the anklets on the ants' feet at the level of energy. Hmm? And then at this level, you fall in line with the unlimited, what you call the omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient God energy. This is at this level, you will also be the same, and you and I are one, God said. So at the level of energy, all you have to do is merge with me. How? Just close your eyes and feel your inner body, the energy cruising through your veins, the blood rushing inside you, the energy field inside you. That's it. Do that for at least for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes a day. Whenever you have time, don't reach for your phone. Don't reach for your WhatsApp. Don't reach for your computer or your TV remote. Just for a few minutes a day. Try it and become one with me. Feel the energy within yourself. That is none else than me. That is me. That's it. You don't have to use words. You don't have to use complicated mantras. You don't have to do anything at this level. Just be quiet and let the go mind go silent. That is when you are going to merge with me, said God. So I have told myself I'll take this very seriously, and I shall try to start. God even told me, start at the level of energy. You don't have to do all the other things and come down to energy last. No, he said, in fact, bottom up is the way to go. The bottommost level, or the deepest level, is the energy level. Start from the deepest level. It's easy to come to the top. You start digging from the top, it's going to take a long time. You start at the bottom. That's it. That is where I am. That's where I'm easily found. And you start with the energy level, and all the other levels will be taken care of by themselves. You don't have to do anything more. So this was my conversation with God, and I hope you liked it. And thank you for listening. Thank you.